To Toronto City Hall, where
Thanks,
Kyle
Crystal.
Johnson is standing by with the story.
City as thousands gather for the funeral of a mayor that no one will easily forget. The funeral procession started around 11:15 this morning, led by the Ontario Provincial Police and followed by the Ford family. Thousands of people massed outside City Hall today to pay their respects to the Ford family and have continued to do so on the route the hearse is taking towards the funeral home. Ford's pallbearers were his brothers Doug and Randy, nephew Michael, his chief of staff Dan Jacobs, former communications director Amin Masoudi, and friend Dom Smagburley. What will the city of Toronto miss most about Rob Ford? We're okay? I can move?
Oh, I guess
Alright, there's a lot of commotion going on in that
how he helped the
there,
poor
right off the hop there.
and how he tried to help the city. The city was a big thing to him, and he tried so very hard to do that.
He lived and breathed Toronto, so I think they're going to miss his passion, because he always tried to do what he thought was the best for the people, always looking out for the little person.
So city miss a strong voice for the people, voice for the poor people, I can say.
Oh, he was great as a councillor, pretty poor as a mayor.
The hearse carrying the former mayor arrived at St. James Cathedral, where the Ford family will privately say goodbye to a husband, a brother, a father, a politician. Reporting live for On Sheridan, outside Old City Hall in Toronto, I'm Kyle Johnston.
After being postponed yesterday, the sentencing hearing for Gordon Stuckless begins today. The former Maple Leaf Gardens usher pleaded guilty in 2014 to 100 charges related to the sexual abuse of 18 boys. Victims of Stuckless spoke today, saying they are permanently scarred by his actions. The memories of his assault haunt them and keep them up at night. Defense lawyer Ari Goldkind said prosecutors want his client imprisoned for 10 to 12 years.
Parking fines are about to triple in Toronto. After cancelling nearly 880,000 parking tickets, Toronto is increasing the penalty for tickets given by 3 times. Mayor John Tory believes this will curb illegal parking and congestion. Uber Canada is launching a campaign to gain public support as Ottawa City Council prepares for a vote on the alternative taxi service. The company has been operating in Ottawa since October 2014 and says it wants locals to share their stories about the service. It has set up a website to support Uber. It has set up a website, supportuberyao.com, to collect comments. Ottawa is one of several cities faced with complaints the drivers using the Uber ride-hailing technology can have unfair advantage over the conventional taxi industry, which is heavily regulated. The council vote is set to take place April 13th.
A fatal fire in remote Northern Ontario First Nation claimed 9 lives last night. 3 children and 6 adults died after a fire broke out in their home in the Pickingicum region. Reports say there is a lack of firefighting services and substandard housing in many First Nation communities. In the Pickingicum, there are no firefighting services and 95% of homes do not have running water. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. The Transportation Board of Canada is investigating the cause of a plane crash that killed Quebec political commentator Jean Lapierre, his wife, and 4 others. The former federal cabinet minister was on the way to attend his father's funeral. The plane went down in fog and freezing rain on the Ile de la Madeleine. A resident of the area said if the plane broke into 3 pieces.
Alberta's vision of a giant airship is floating its way to reality. Straight Line Aviation is attempting to sell 12 hybrid airships the size of a Canadian football field. The airships are supposed to aid the delivery of supplies to workers in the oil sands and the northern mining sector, which includes Canada and Alaska. The University of Ottawa, Carleton University, La Cité, and Algonquin College are trying to set a Guinness World Record for the highest number of urine samples collected in 24 hours. In an attempt to remove the stigma behind getting tested for sexually transmitted infections, students gave urine samples for chlamydia and gonorrhea testing. Organizers said that they wanted to make it fun and take a positive approach to show students it's okay to get tested.
The Liberals are facing criticism for neglecting to follow through on a pledge to encourage employers to hire young people. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau vowed to offer a 12-month holiday on EI premiums to employers who give permanent jobs to people aged 18 to 24. But that promise didn't make the final cut in this budget. It was supposed to come into effect this year and extend through 2017 and 2018. The government says going to explore the issue of youth unemployment by seeking input from a panel of experts and Council of Canadians aged 16 to 24.
U.S. President Barack Obama will be hosting dozens of world leaders for 56 nations at the gathering in Washington. The summit will focus on the topic of nuclear materials and comes in the wake of the Belgium terror attacks and many nuclear advances by North Korea. One country, however, has snubbed the invitation. Russia declared that they would not be sending a representative to the meeting. A photo from 2013 tweeted by Prime Minister Trudeau has recently gone viral. Taken inside Parliament Hill, the photo shows Trudeau performing what looks like to be a yoga pose on the top of a table. The other man in the photo, MP Anthony Rota, told reporters that the photo was most likely taken in 2010, when planking was all the rage. Trudeau was simply showcasing his skills.
According to New Health Canada report, the chemical BPA is still present in an alarming number of food can linings and lids. Although that might be a cause for concern for some people, Health Canada's Food Advisory Board says that the current dietary exposure to BPA through food packaging doesn't pose a health risk. Researchers explain the goal of the BPA report is not to scare consumers, but to provide them with information that can help them make better food choices.
Looking for a new furry addition to your family? Look no further than the Oakville Humane Society, where approximately 1,000 animals are taken in yearly. Hillary Johnson has the story.
Here at the Oakville Milton Humane Society, animals are given a new lease on life.
The Oakville and Milton Humane Society has existed since 1936. We service the Oakville and Milton community, providing animal control for Oakville. We have adoption services. We intake animals from people who can no longer care for their pets.
After the facility rescues the animals, they are rehabilitated and ready for adoption.
I want to get a cat that is do not have a home, so we'll take care of that. And when that cat passes on, maybe we can get another cat, and we can get that, and we can take care of that cat someday, and then we can have so much fun with the cat, and we'll take care of it. Then it will be fun.
Not a cat person? Don't worry. There's a wide variety of pets you can adopt, like dogs, bunnies, and even birds, like Jello the budgie.
Especially for something like cats, there's just so many of them that need homes, and they're just as good as any other pet that you would find. You already know what you're going to get, and they're always very grateful for that as well.
Looking to adopt or even give a foster home to an animal? Come on down to the Humane Society and give a furry friend a forever home. For On Sheridan, I'm Hillary Johnson.
It's time for a quick break.
When we come back, we'll update you on the refugee crisis and more controversy in the Trump camp.
Welcome back. Immigration Minister John McCallum is joining other United Nations delegates in Geneva to discuss Canada's role in the Syrian refugee crisis. McCallum says Canada will be working on improving lives of those who have already arrived, while planning the arrival of displaced people in the next 2 years. This includes programs to help integrate refugees into Canada's workforce and for post-secondary students to have the opportunity to attend Western schooling. McCallum is also pledging Canadian technical information and support for allied countries to help evacuate those in war-torn areas. The United Nations is calling on allied countries to resettle 50,000 refugees in the next 3 years. 3 countries have taken up the humanitarian challenge: Sweden, Italy, and most surprisingly, the United States.
We've committed today an additional $20 million specifically to our ongoing more than $5 billion that the American people have contributed to the effort to deal with this refugee crisis.
French President François Hollande is dropping a bill that would revoke the citizenship of convicted terrorists. Following a weekly cabinet meeting, the proposal was dropped after both parliaments disagreed on it. The opposition stated that it would create 2 classes of citizens, which would oppose the principle of equality in France's constitution. The president's plan to constitute new rules for a state of emergency plan were also abandoned.
Trump's campaign manager is under pressure to resign after allegedly battering a journalist. Corey Lewandowski has been charged with simple battery after an altercation at a Trump rally in Wisconsin.
If you look at that tape, he was very, very seriously maligned, and I think it's very unfair.
The video shows the yellow-shirted reporter Michelle Fields approaching Trump before being yanked backwards. Since the altercation, Trump has denied there was a conflict. Now, a Trump staffer is saying that Lewandowski was never the campaign manager, but a security advisor for the Trump enterprises. This contradicts previous comments that Trump made.
Daesh has been driven out of an ancient city of Palmyra by the Russian-backed Assad regime. Palmyra is one of the oldest settlements of the human race, dating back to the Neolithic area, and the archaeological efforts were halted and artifacts destroyed by Daesh.
So we do think it's a good thing that Daesh no longer controls it. That said, we're also mindful, of course, that the best hope for Syria and the Syrian people is not an expansion of Bashar al-Assad's ability to tyrannize the Syrian people.
A British man is sparking an online debate after having his picture taken with the hijacker of an Egyptian plane. Ben Innes told reporters today that he took the shot to get a closer look at the explosive suicide belt. He said that if the bomb was real, he had nothing to lose, so he posed with a 58-year-old hijacker. Police say Innes would have been a hero if he'd sent it to them and not his friends. The belt turned out to be a fake, and the hijacker remains in custody.
Japanese regulators approved the use of a giant refrigeration system today in Fukushima nuclear plant. The aim is to create an ice wall around wrecked buildings in order to contain leaking radioactive water. The plant's operator says that the ice wall will be erected by Thursday and will be built and used in phases to ensure safety codes are being met. The former water plant supervisor in Flint told a hearing that he intended to test and treat the water, but was overruled by a state regulator. He claims the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality said that they didn't need to monitor phosphate because they weren't required to add it. The supervisor said he was taken aback by the order. As treating the water was a routine practice, Flint residents are still advised to not drink unfiltered tap water.
Interpol released its annual tally of toxic and counterfeit foods seized across the world. Topping the list was Italian olives painted with copper sulfate solution, Sudanese sugar tainted with fertilizer, and hundreds of thousands of liters of bogus alcoholic drinks. 10,000 tons of counterfeit food was recovered from across 57 countries.
The FBI is refusing to tell Apple how they cracked the phone of one of the San Bernardino shooters. Earlier this month, Apple and the FBI fought in a legal tug of war when Apple refused to give information to the FBI that would allow the unlocking of phones at government discretion. Some tech experts are accusing the FBI of allegedly hiring cyber thieves to get the job done. Apple says if they are not informed of how the software was accessed, it's possible other criminals will be able to do the same. An antivirus company says it's important for these large tech companies to be made aware of any potential security issues so they can patch and secure your data. Don't go anywhere after the break. We'll dive into the world of sports.
And reporter Tarek Mashal takes a look at androgynous fashion. Welcome back. It's time for some sports.
Kelsey, I hear you have some good news for Leafs fans out there.
I do, Crystal. Our men's soccer team took on Mexico yesterday in a qualification match for the 2018 FIFA World Cup tournament in Mexico City. First half goals scored by Jose Guardado and Jesus Corona were the difference makers as Mexico beat Canada 2-0. Canada has 2 games left as they must win both games to look for their first World Cup qualification in the CONCACAF region. And Canada's women's hockey team took on Russia. It was supposed to be a close game against the world's #1 team, Canada, and the world's #6 team, Russia. With Russia up 1-0 after the first, our Canadian women scored 5 goals in the span of 4 minutes early in the second and never looked back, topping Russia 8-1. And more good news for Canadian hockey fans, the Leafs beat a top team in the NHL in what was Nazem Kadri's top performance of the year. Kadri netted a hat trick while Parento and Grabner scored the other 2 for the Buds as they beat down the Panthers 5-2 on Florida's home ice. Toronto is still in the race for the first overall pick, Austin Matthews. But who stands in their way? A team who has had 4 of the last 6 first overall picks, the Edmonton Oilers. But kickboxing is all the craze these days. Our sports reporter Tanya Maruza gives us an inside look at this knockout sport.
I went to the new Big Hit Kickboxing studio in downtown Oakville and met up with the owner and trainer who lives and breathes the sport.
I loved martial arts growing up, and especially kickboxing, Thai boxing. So got into it at a young age and incorporating it into fitness, another passion of mine.
With the success of Toronto's studio, Guidon headed west of the city and opened up the brand new studio in January 2016. Oakvillians are obsessed with the sport.
It's been brilliant. I love it. It's, I've been doing Zumba for 10 years and then I've come here and it's like I've just fallen in love with kickboxing and I think I'll be doing it for a while. A little bit addictive.
Kickboxing is rising in popularity. We see it in the UFC, and now women's boxing will be a sport in the 2016 Rio Olympics. To some, it may be intimidating and a bit scary, but don't you worry.
Potentially can be intimidating any form of exercise, especially something like kickboxing. So the environment that we create is very welcoming, so people don't have to feel like they're joining a fight club.
It's hard, but it's good. It works every part of your body, and I'm happy with it. And I'm encouraging a lot of people to come and try it. I think it's great for anybody, any age.
Spring has sprung and summer is just around the corner. If you want to get your beach body ready, hit up www.bighitstudios.ca. Reporting for On Sheridan, I'm Tanya Maruzik.
The big question for tonight's Raps game is if All-Star point guard Kyle Lowry will be starting tonight, and if so, how long will his injured elbow hold up? The Raps take on the Atlanta Hawks, who are looking to clinch a playoff berth for the 9th consecutive year. Toronto has already clinched a playoff berth for the 3rd straight year and is playing only 2 games back from Cleveland, looking for that first overall spot for home court advantage throughout the playoffs. And the Final Four is upon us. Yes, that's right, NCAA fans, the tournament is down to its final 4 teams. Oklahoma and NCAA's best player, Buddy Hield, take on Villanova, who just upset the favored Kansas in a shocker. Syracuse looks to upset the tournament's best team, North Carolina, who are now the only #1 seed remaining. First game is Saturday at 6:49 p.m. when Villanova takes on Oklahoma. And legendary NBA reporter Craig Sager revealed to the sports world that his cancer is no longer in remission. The 64-year-old veteran is back at courtside despite doctors telling him he has only 3 to 6 months to live. The reporter, respected by the NBA and his players, has vowed to continue working, regardless of his leukemia.
I mean, seeing you and doing what you're doing, I mean, we got no excuses. So, you're an inspiration for us to, just keep doing what we're doing, keep fighting, and that's the mentality we have, and it's kind of contagious. So thank you.
And fans gave a standing ovation during the Wizards-Warriors game last night that can only help Sager's spirits remain high. And that's it for your weekly sports update. Now over to Olivia in entertainment. Olivia?
Thank you, Kelsey. A former personal bodyguard for Elton John is suing the musician for alleging battery, sexual battery, and sexual harassment. Jeffrey Winninger claims that Elton's actions occurred for several years, but the lawsuit cites 3 specific incidents between March and April in 2014. The claims made by Winninger were denied in a statement by the musician's lawyers, saying that the bodyguard contradicts himself from previous statements. Chris Brown is in hot water again after tweeting R&B singer Kehlani's recent suicide attempt. Kehlani was attacked online for allegedly cheating on her boyfriend, NBA Cavalier player Kyrie Irving, after Canadian artist Party Next Door posted a photo of him and Kehlani in bed together. When the story went viral about her suicide attempt, Brown tweeted, "There is no attempting suicide. Stop flexing for the gram." As you can imagine, many took the tweet as being extremely insensitive. He then continued to diss Kehlani in a series of tweets. Diddy announced that he will be throwing a Bad Boy reunion concert tribute for the Notorious B.I.G. The tribute features performances from friends of the late rapper like Lil' Kim, Mary J. Blige, Jay-Z, and Faith Evans. B.I.G. was murdered in 1997 in a drive-by shooting at the age of 24. This year marks the 20th anniversary of his death. The concert will take place on May 20th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Tickets go on sale on Saturday. Rihanna gave her Navy a taste of up-and-coming singles off her hit album, Auntie. The next singles will be Kiss It Better and Needed Me. Rihanna is currently on tour with Travis Scott. The video for Kiss It Better will be released tomorrow at noon. Who knows, maybe one of these songs will be her 15th #1 single. Gender roles are changing, and Tarek Michelle shows us how it is changing the fashion industry.
Fashion designers are experimenting with gender-neutral clothing. Nicola Formichetti's collection is an example.
In regards to androgynous fashion, I think it's very up-and-coming, very forward-thinking. Like amalgamating women's fashion, both into men's fashion and vice versa, is something very progressive and something that we'd like to see more of in the future.
Tanya Taberge adds her opinion on androgynous fashion.
For me personally, androgyny is being able to embrace as a female my male and my masculine characteristics. Casey Legler is the first female model that's been signed officially as a male model. She's breaking down stereotypes, breaking down gender biases.
Gender-fluid model Ash Hands, who will be wearing one of Taberge's haute couture designs, is also breaking stereotypes.
There's a lot of menswear elements throughout my women's wear collection. I'm using men's suiting in women's couture gowns. There's a lot, again, and it comes down to being able to play with a lot of different things.
The fashion industry is shifting as gender lines are blurring, but it's yet to be seen if gender-neutral clothing will be a fashion staple or just another trend. I'm Tarek Mashal reporting for On Sheridan.
That's all for entertainment. Now back to Arvind and Crystal in the newsroom.
Thanks. Ready for some cuteness overload? After the break, we'll give you something to feel warm and fuzzy about, including the weather.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Today was just a beautiful day. It really started to feel like spring. Let's go out with Brendan to see if this warm weather will continue. Brendan?
Thanks, guys. So, for the very last time, I know, it's sad, the very last time my weather report, I'm very pleased to say it's going to be a mixed bag of weather this week. I promised you at the start I was going to give you informative weather that was good, and it was great. So I'm going to give it to you right now. Let's go. So your 5-day forecast starting on Thursday. So the warm weather's continue. The high is going to be 13, but cloudy skies. We're expecting a high chance of rain and heavy winds for that day. Friday is still pretty seasonal. Our high is 7, our low is 2, with a mix of sun and clouds. Saturday we keep the spring-like temperatures with a high of 6, but there is a good chance it's going to rain that day, and I'm sad to say it, we might even see some snow. Winter makes a comeback on Sunday with a high of 0 and a low of -4. Monday we have a pretty similar day to Sunday, as the high is going to be -1 and the low is going to be -4, with some light snow throughout the day. Well, guys, I'm sad to say that's the last time I'm going to give you weather. I must go with the breeze like it goes through my pants. I'm done here. Back to you guys in the room.
Thank you so much, Brendan. Happy Manatee Appreciation Day. These cute, gentle herbivores have a lifespan of about 60 years and spend most of their time eating, sleeping, and traveling. Although manatees are endangered and hunting them is illegal, they continue to be poached for their meat and hide. Today is devoted to raising awareness about these quirky creatures.
Now, before we end the show for today, I'd like to give you a little something to make you feel warm and fuzzy inside. A panda taking a selfie with his foster dad, Manu May, has an amazing relationship with his zookeeper. The two were seen cuddling and taking selfies. The video has received quite the attention online, and rightly so.
Oh my god, wasn't that the cutest thing ever?
Adorable, absolutely.
I wish I had one for myself.
Me too. You probably can't have him as a pet though.
Are you sure about that? Can we check that? Can we verify those?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't.
All right, well, that's all we have for today, guys.
Thanks for watching. I'm Crystal Davine.
And I'm Arvin Jonas. Have a wonderful Wednesday, Sheridan.